Well. This is going to be the start of my first ever review. Uh, rough draft incoming, pretty much. This is going to be published as like a video, but I mean, first time ever sitting down and pretty much going for the whole record one take. That being said, focusing issues, audio issues, I'll try to maybe resolve post production if it's too bad with focusing. I mean, I could see the image right now, so we'll see if it gets too bad, but all in all, hello. I am the weakest reviews. This is gonna be it, right? I mean, I'm gonna be going down the line of S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball, but in specific, I'm going to be doing the Namek line right now. Because in terms of collecting, I mean, eventually we might go through and get, a majority of these things, but as of right now, A, for expense wise, B, just, time of the essence sort of a thing. I mean, there's no rush. I mean, only factor being, price for pre-orders going to be way cheaper than getting any sort of other, reseller. So, Namek Saga first, and as of right now, I have 8, including this guy. I got 8 other figures to review for the Namek line. So, as of the first little bit of this channel, it's going to be just doing the Namek line reviews. And considering the newer Vegeta with no shoulder pads just came out, I guess this is appropriate. And this guy is also pretty new, within the realm of a year or two. So I thought, why not go with this guy? And out of my 9 I have already, he is one of my favorite figures right now. And that being said, I thought, why not start with him? For the whole unboxing concept, I'll keep it a buck with all you guys. I've opened every single one of my figures I have right now because recording and doing all that stuff, I kind of had to tiptoe in this territory. Camera setup, lighting setup, table, the whole 9 yards for this fucking thing. Dragon Ball is my jam. It's more than half the reason I jumped on this bandwagon of reviewing these things. But then, just aside from that, I mean, getting the reviews, getting the figures in hand is just even more rewarding because I personally think it's well worth the money, especially with some of these other figures that we'd be reviewing later. Down the line, once I get other figures, that I pre-ordered or just bought, once the channel might grow in popularity, then I'll keep them sealed in the box and do an actual unboxing, sort of a first impression of vibe. But as of now, I've opened every one of my figures. I've kind of, had my fair share of trying to articulate and see what they're made of. When it comes to cuts, edits, all that, again, I mean, I'm kind of new to this stuff when it comes to the video editing aspect, so I'm going to try my best to kind of just see where it takes me in the terms of editing all this stuff, because, down the line, I might do cuts to, like, cut from this to the box open to, the posing, the articulation aspect. But as of right now, we're just going to go basic. We're going to do the unboxing aspect here because, if I were a viewer, I want it to be as thorough as possible. But as of now, rough draft, we're just gonna do the unboxing aspect here, right? So for anyone that's looking to collect these lines or any S.H.Figuarts, I would highly recommend doing your research, because if you don't know what you're doing, I feel like it'd be very easy to get ripped off. The 2 takeaways that you need to look for are the 2 stickers of authentication for Bandai and Toei. I think it's those 2. Yeah, no, actually Tamashii Nations, and then I think the other one is Bandai. Maybe? No, it's Toei. Again, the focusing aspect might not be the greatest when it comes to the first couple videos, because I'm still trying my luck with this camera. There goes the box. So, forgive the focusing issues if there is any. I'm going to try my best with all this. Standard box. You think action figure, you think kids, you think little kitty toys, which, it is a toy. I mean, let's be real, it's a damn toy. But I really appreciate the thought and effort put into these sort of adult line figures. So, again, this channel is meant to be more for the newcomers to this sort of, what do you call it, hobby, So, I'm going to try to be as thorough as I can with you guys, let you know all the details, try to lead you in the right direction. I'm, opinion-based, obviously, like all these other reviewers. Everyone's got their own opinion on if they like the figures or features on it, whatever the case may be. When it comes to slips and instruction manuals, like I just showed, some will be in the box as like a physical paper, And some, if it's easy enough, will just be labeled on the side of the box there. I guess we'll just get right to the figure itself now instead of the introduction to the channel and, you know, what I'm going to be doing. Figure. This is one of my favorite figures out of the 9 I have already. 9 figures in total, and again, it's going to be a good, you know, a good amount of figures just to have a base going for this channel. You know, I'm not going to run out of figures to review anytime soon. I'll be spreading these out pretty periodically unless I just get addicted to editing, I guess, these things. I don't know. Nonetheless, figure time. This is one of my favorite figures out of the line. You got the sleeve on top that goes out. Usually there's kind of, you know, packaged plastic in between the parts that would rub on the paint and the plastic. I took all that out, so with all the figures I'm going to have going forward, again, you're not going to see any, like, brand new plastic or anything, like, on top of the figures or anything. I mean, I'm taking them all out. I've posed them as much as I can. Getting them out without flipping the box over is an issue for sure. Because you don't want to, I mean, me personally, I don't want to bend my plastic up too much. Here it is in all its glory, all right? Love this figure, man. I can't express how much I love this figure. That being said, I've had my fair share of messing around with this figure. I love it, all right? And with format and, you know, my order of how I'm going to be going around things, it's going to change throughout my video making and editing process. So this is a big rough draft as of now. I'm just kind of actually going about the steps, kind of just trying to hit every mark right now. Articulation aspect, again, overall, I guess I'm jumping the gun a little, so I guess I'll go back to the overall just basis out of the box impression. The figure is amazing, right? Even the default stuff that just comes on him without swapping any heads or hands, it's so good, all right? It's just so good. Scouter, replaceable. You can put an ear on every head. His hands, you know, we'll get to that in a moment, because with the editing aspect of my videos, I am going to try to do the cutaway into showing what's on the figure for articulation. So my voiceover will be saying, you know, like right now, I'm going to be saying he has 2 spready out hands, like, you know, blast attacks or like wait, you know, like, you know, again, with these figures, they're obviously meant to represent something that they do in the anime or manga. But you could be expressive with these things. You could make them, you know, do whatever. Like you could have the clenched hands like these be the grabbing fists. You could have the extended flex hands be blast or catch hands too. And then the straight hands, you know, the chops, I guess, if you want to say. I mean, obviously, the most iconic shot of Vegeta, that chop move, would be for cutting off Guldo's head, or doing a little side jab to Jace midair. Those are the 2 shots I could think of initially in my head that would require those hands. Face plates matter so much to me. You have the standard evil Vegeta smirk, right? And, you know, I might try to flash, you know, manga panels and, you know, scenes in the anime over screen to show and demonstrate some of the comparisons when it comes to the faceplates versus the material, the stage material. That being said, you have the iconic, typical Vegeta smirk. And like I said earlier, you could take the scouter off of any one of these heads to give variety. You have the standard smile, no teeth showing. That one looks a little more mellowed out, kind of like, you know, not too evil. You know, it's got its evilness looking, but, you know. Then we got the opened mouth. This is probably my favorite expression. I mean, everyone could probably agree. I mean, this expression is so good. And again, with all these sort of realism aspects when it comes to obviously portraying it like it is in the anime or manga, they're doing such a good job. Like, oh my gosh, it jumps right out of it. It jumps right out of the manga or anime, right on the figure. So this could obviously just be yelling, like, you know, look out behind you. It could be the blast yelling noise. You know, there's so much. And like I said earlier, you could kind of be creative when it comes to these expressions and whatnot. You don't have to make it the exact manga panel, exact anime scene. You can do whatever you want with these things. Don't be afraid to push and pull, because, you know, like butterfly joints like this. Let me pull this back so you can kind of see more. The butterfly joint on his shoulder is just, I think it's so good. It's got everything you need for butterfly joints. It's got the little ball pegs, so you could kind of shimmy up the shoulder up and down. If you could kind of see that little small micro adjustment, so you could have it riding high like that, or you could kind of pull it down. You can see the gap right there, so it kind of exfoliates his thing downward a little bit. You can give him longer arms. You can do so much with the shoulders alone. So therefore, like I said, you could push it in a little more, get more of a winded back sort of shoulder vibe. I will admit, I think me personally, the one takeaway for this figure articulation wise is the chest, which I mean, I'll vouch for other reviewers that have mentioned the same thing. People will complain about gaps, but it's a goddamn action figure, guys. You gotta chill out with the oh, there's a gap. I can't pose him good. He's ugly. It's just, I can't believe people like that, really. I mean, you got to give it the benefit of the doubt when it comes to adult line action figures. Could they have fixed it? Yeah, maybe. Maybe they could have. Probably. Do I care? Absolutely not. I mean, when it comes to standards, you're kind of asking for a lot if you want every sort of neck crease or every single gap on the figure to be hidden in a certain way. Yes, it looks better when the neck is in, but when it comes to certain poses, I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. So all in all, articulation, and I haven't covered every basis, I know that, but it's a good articulated figure. The neck, I mean, again, like I said earlier, he could look straight up, right? I mean, he could look straight up, and if you really wanted to, you could kind of pull the faceplate off, right? And instead of pushing it in the grooves, you kind of just set it on there. It gives it more, I mean, just barely, but it gives it just barely more of a look up feature. You could kind of work your magic when it comes to these figures. The neck looks straight up amazingly. His down is even better, honestly. I mean, if you want a good pose where he's looking down towards, if he's in the air flying, right, and he's looking down at the ground like he's looking at someone he's about to fight, he does that. He does that well. Chest, I mentioned how that was the weakest point of this figure, and other reviewers have also mentioned it. The twist and turn on this figure, it's all right. And again, gap wise, I don't mind gaps. But yes, the front and back aren't the greatest. Like the crunch, if you want to call it. The chest just doesn't do a whole lot, which I guess with some of the poses that he's in and doing with like this specific armor in the anime and manga, there aren't a lot of poses where you're going to need him crunched in half or crunched backwards like he's doing the limbo. He's kind of working everybody the whole time. All right. I mean, he's not doing anything crazy. It's just Vegeta. All right. He's kind of sitting there looking. Again, words aren't really hitting my brain so good right now, but stoic. That's the word. He's looking very stoic, but in an evil way. Right. It's Vegeta. He's not a good guy, especially in this era. He's killing innocent Namekians. He offs every single Ginyu Force member, even though they have no chance to fight back. It's ruthless Vegeta, all right? I mean, he's not doing anything dynamic. He is, but not with the chest, is what I mean. Very good takeaway from this figure is the leg articulation is banging. When it comes to his butt cheeks, not too limiting. I mean, all you got to do is kind of tweak the leg adjustment just a little bit, and it'll fit right back there. Because look at that. I mean, that is pretty damn good. Total 180 splits. Amazing, gorgeous. Butterfly pegs on the shoulders, or joints, I mean. Butterfly joints make the arms very extendable, up, down, left, right. You could push them in, recess them, whatever the case may be. And with the shoulder pads, last but not least, I will talk about the shoulder pads. They're on ball hinges in the back, and I've seen some reviewers say you can't take them off. Some reviewers know that you can. Look, easy peasy. You take the shoulder joints off, and then look at that. You have a shoulder padless Namek Vegeta now. Now you don't have to buy the other $60 figure. I personally like the look. If you wanted to pose him without the shoulder pads, that's doable. You want to click the shoulder pads back on. They have a little R towards the top bit that you won't be able to focus in. Maybe it will, actually. That's a great camera focus. So his right, just line them up, slide it in there again, and easy peasy. You have your things back on. For the most part, I've pretty much almost went over everything. There's crossed arms to give you sort of a stoic look for Vegeta. And that's, who doesn't need stoic Vegeta? overall, still not trying to rush this review because it's my first one. I really want it to be thorough. I want you to get the overall gist of me and the figure itself because this is one of my favorite figures. And I would recommend someone getting this figure, especially if you like Vegeta, because though Vegeta might not be one of my top 3 favorite characters of the series, he is one of my favorite characters. And this Vegeta right here does him so much justice. It's almost unbelievable how good this figure is. And it's almost as equally unbelievable that some people don't like this figure. I don't want anyone to be steered away and think this figure is bad because it has bad chest articulation, because it has a big neck gap, because it's got weird, shoulder pads that do crazy ass poses. If you like Vegeta, I think you would like this figure, especially being that it's different design. Like the other Vegetas before this one were very just mundane, typical cheesy face plates. This one is so iconic to the lore and backstory and art for Toriyama, which is why I love it so much. So, whoever watches, I do appreciate you stopping by. I will try to probably be uploading regularly, but only once I get comfortable with filming and editing my software and all that. But for the most part, this will be a kind of a common thing. So I really, really appreciate you guys stopping by. Please think about liking, subscribing, and for links and stuff, I might try to leave links for like where to buy these things, but honestly, I don't know how that's going to go. So for the most part, I mean, yeah, keep it easy. Look out for more videos from me down the line. And I really, really appreciate you guys stopping by.